Who should I be friends with? I think that's a big question a lot of us are asking. A lot of us are going back to school. Some of us are navigating new jobs, new places of work, going to college, and we're trying to decide who should we be friends with. That's always a big question. And I figured, you know what? Let's just make a really, really casual episode and just talk about that. What to look for in a friend. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. There's nothing to this. Very different setup. I just felt like shooting it outside, so if you hear some noise, that's what it is. But yeah, let's talk about it. What to look for in a friend. Hey, welcome to Growing Up Kingdom. My name's Daniel, and I'm so excited that you're here. If you've been looking for a place where you feel like you can be encouraged, where you feel like you can grow in your confidence, this is an absolutely great place to do that, so make sure that you stick around. I like that intro. I can't get rid of it. I know sometimes it's kind of like kills the momentum, but hey. So, we're looking for friends. It's going to be a really quick episode, but I just want to talk about it. When we're looking for friends, what are we looking for? Who are we looking for? I just have a list of things I look for in a friend, things that I would look for if I was going to your school, if I was going to your college, if I was going to your job. These are the people I would look for. Now, obviously, you can't find all of these everywhere. Obviously, you might be able to find someone who has 3 of these characteristics, 4 of these characteristics. This is like a perfect list. It's also not exhaustive. There's definitely more things I would add to it. But hey, while we're doing this, take some time to think about your friends. Do these friends line up with this list? Do they not? Would it be better if they did? Would it be better if they, yeah. I don't know. You tell me. The first thing I think, I'm talking from the perspective of a godly guy, right? I want to live my life centered on God's word. I want to live a moral life, a consistent life. The first thing I look for in a friend is someone who has the same faith and same mission. Now, so obviously, if we're just casual friends, I don't really care if you have the exact same faith, the exact same beliefs. You know, if I believe in Jesus and you're not quite sure, honestly, you're an atheist, we can still be friends. I just would argue maybe we can't be like best friends, you know, because we have those different beliefs. But I'd be friends with anyone like that. But when I'm talking, like when I'm looking specifically for a really, really good friend, I would still look for someone who has the same faith and someone who has the same mission. Let me explain. A godly guy, in my opinion, that's what I'm trying to be. I'm not trying to just live my life any old way. I'm trying to be a godly guy, and I'm trying to find friends going that same direction. I look for friends who share that same faith in Christ. When I'm talking like good friends, right? Not just like, hey, casual friends, hey, how's it going? You know, talking to them every once in a while. If I'm talking really, really good friends, I'm looking for someone who shares my faith in Christ, someone who shares the same biblical values for sure. My personal choices, if you just want to go be friends with whoever you want to, whoever believes whatever, hey, that's up to you. But I really do believe the best way to do it is to find someone who has the same values that you do. Having those sort of people around you, they will help you to grow, right? Having someone who is able to encourage you in the word, hey, what are you reading right now? How's your time with the Lord looking? Someone who's able to encourage you, someone who's able to help you grow in your faith, someone who's going the same way as you are. I'm not saying, hey, all my friends want to be a preacher like I am. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying they all have a general way that they want to live their life. They want to live their life in a moral way, in a biblical way, in a God-centered, God-pleasing way. And so we have the same faith and the same mission, if I'm talking like really good friends. Now, obviously, I don't have many great friends either. I talk about it all the time, at least not on this, but by myself. I'm usually thinking, man, I wish I had more friends. Man, I wish I had better friends, closer friends. I think that's something we're all wishing for. I think that's something that we all want. But yeah, this is my list here. If you have that sort of really tight friend group already, that's incredible for you. I'm still trying to find mine. I'm still walking through it. And I think a lot of us are too. These are just my thoughts. So what does that friend look like who has the same faith, the same mission? We can have spiritual conversations. We can talk about what you're reading in the Bible. We can talk about what the Lord's doing in your life. They prioritize God in their decisions. You know, it's not just done off a whim, but if it's a big decision, they'll pray on it, pray about it, and then ask the Lord, and then maybe get back to me. They attend church, they come to a Bible study, they're doing something to grow. They're doing something to grow in the Word of God. I think that's essential. In my case, again, if I'm talking about a good friend. Okay, second thing I look for in a friend is someone who builds me up. I need someone who encourages me, someone who challenges me. You need someone who encourages you, you need someone who challenges you in your life. You need someone who's going to help you grow. A lot of friends, they'll just go along with whatever you want to do. They'll help you do whatever you feel like. And sometimes that's great, but often you need someone who's able to push you, someone who's able to help you grow, someone who's able to pull you out of your shell a little bit. You need friends who lift you up, friends who speak truth into your life, friends that remind you of God's promises even when things get hard. Friends who keep you on the right track if you want to go a different way. Sometimes, we just want to go our own way, we want to do our own things, we're looking for friends who will just jump on the bus and do it with us. But sometimes it's really, really important to have a friend who's able to say, you know what, Daniel, maybe that's not the best thing to do. Daniel, hey, what do you think about this? I'm going to be very honest. I had this one friend, he posted something on Instagram not too long ago, and I literally gave him a call. I was like, hey, I just want to make sure you really meant to post that picture because, I don't really know how it came across. And I want people in my own life who are able to do that to me too. Hey, Daniel, I don't know if you meant to post that, or I don't know if you meant to say that, because I don't know if it's coming across the way that you meant it to. I don't know if you really thought through all the consequences, all the actions. I want people to do that for me. I want people to do that in my own life. Not in a judgmental way, but someone who's able to encourage me, but also someone who's able to help me grow, someone who builds me up, even when it's not what I want to hear in the moment. So, these are friends who will pray for me. These are friends who will pray for you. These are friends who will offer you biblically sound advice, people who will help you, who will help encourage you to grow in life, people who will encourage you to grow spiritually, people who will be praying for you, people who will be stretching you. Hey, what did you read in the Bible this week? What did you learn? What's the Lord showing you? Those are good friends. So these are people who encourage you to seek God's will, to do what He's calling you to do. They're people who offer prayer, who offer support, but they're also the people who speak truth in love. Man, this feels kind of funny holding this microphone. I'm not used to this, but hey, I didn't feel like clipping it to myself. Speak truth in love. That's a big one. A lot of friends, like I said before, they'll just go along with whatever, but you need solid friends who are able to talk to you, who will see you doing something and be able to say, you know what? I don't know if that's the best thing. You know what? I see you doing this, but honestly, I would reconsider. Not judging you or shaming you or making you feel bad, but if they see something, they will be able to speak up, and they'll be comfortable enough to speak up and talk to you about it. I think that's a big one. I think it's an overused Bible verse, but Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Yeah. You need people who are able to sharpen you in life. You don't just want people who just go along with whatever you're doing and don't help you change. You need a friend who keeps it real with you. Similar to the other one, but you need someone who's able to tell you like it is. They're able to point out things when they see it. It's someone who keeps you accountable, holds you to your commitments, especially in your relationship with God. I need someone in my life who's able to check in on me, who's able to make sure I'm good. You need friends who aren't afraid to be honest with you. You need friends who are able to tell you the truth. That's what we just touched on in the end of the last one. This is a whole other point. You need friends who are able to be honest with you, to be able to speak into you and say things that need to be said. These are the friends you know have your best interests at heart. So maybe you're at school and you meet someone who's willing to tell you something that you don't necessarily agree with, right? They're willing to tell you maybe you did something wrong, maybe you need to do something differently. If someone has the courage to be able to speak up to you and tell you, hey, you know what, you're doing this wrong, then I would listen. I would give them a place at least to listen to them a little bit and see what they have to say. Obviously, if you just met them, you don't have to invite them into a circle and like, tell me about my whole life, you got to fix everything that's going on in my life. But if they're willing to speak up and tell you if they think you could have done something better, make sure you listen to it. Proverbs 27:6 says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. You've heard it said before, but yeah, I think it's true. If a friend talks to you a certain way, if they point you back in the right direction and maybe they hurt your feelings for a moment in the process, at some point maybe you just have to deal with it. I know it's hard sometimes. I know it's difficult sometimes, but I found in my life, sometimes you don't want to hear all the advice that everyone has for you, but sometimes it's good advice. Sometimes you do have to take it. I lost where I was in my notes. You need a friend who's willing to grow together. Not just someone who's willing to point at you and say, you got to do this, You got to grow in this area. But point number 4 would be you need someone who's willing to grow together. Someone who's willing to show you where you need to grow, but they're willing to grow in the same area. They're willing to grow with you. You need a friend who's humble, who's teachable. Friendship's not always about who knows more, who's right, but it's about growing together. It's about learning new things. It's about trying new different things. So what if we were to value the friends, the people around us who are open to learn from one another, who are open to accept correction, knowing that, how to put this? Pride can be a real big barrier to growth. If we think, I know everything, I'm good. It's kind of hard to be friends with someone like that who knows everything and doesn't want to be corrected. They'll correct you, but they won't take any correction for themselves. But you need a friend who's willing to grow with you. Someone who's humble, who's teachable. They're open to advice. They're open to correction. They're willing to admit it if they make mistakes. If I make a mistake, I will very often own up to it. I'll be like, hey, that's my bad. I'm sorry. That's me. I found myself saying that a lot. Like 2 weeks ago, I messed up. Not like should I explain it? Okay. There was we were doing a production at church, and I made an absolutely huge mistake, clicked the wrong video. It was like a whole thing. Embarrassing. How it happened, I still don't know. I'm telling the whole world now. But, yeah, that whole time I'm like, hey, I don't know how it could have happened. I still have no clue how it happened. I really don't think it should have happened. I don't know. But I have no one else to blame but myself. And it's okay to say that in friendship sometimes, right? It's okay to own up to your mistakes and say, I didn't do that right. I got no one else to blame but myself. I'm sorry. I hope you'll forgive me. And you need friends like that. You need friends who are open to accept when they're wrong, who are open to grow with you. That's a big one. I keep saying it's a big one to all of them, but they are. So when you're at school and when you're going different places, take time to find some people who are open and teachable too. If you have friends who won't take any advice from you, who won't take any correction from you, it might be time to reevaluate those friendships, maybe just a little bit. Proverbs 10:8, I want to say it's in the NLT, says, the wise are glad to be instructed, but babbling fools fall flat on their faces. That's a funny way to put it. The wise are glad to be instructed, but babbling fools fall flat on their faces. It's like, you want wise friends. You want people who are able to be instructed, who are able to grow with you. It's those babbling fools who'll just talk a whole lot of trash, tell you where you need to grow, but then don't take any advice themselves. Those are the people you don't want to be around with, because at some point I think they're going to hit the heart, and they're going to hit the heart they're going to hit the ground. They're going to hit the ground pretty hard is what I meant to say. Okay, you need a friend who's not afraid to serve. You need a friend who's able to step out and help other people. I look for people who have a servant's heart, who are willing to go out and help other people, to step into their problems and be able to offer solutions. One of my favorite things is to step into a room and be able to find a solution to something. What makes me like the happiest, being able to step into a room, see a problem, and then be able to fix it, to be able to solve it. And I'm not talking like, every time there's something on the ground in my house, on the floor, every time I got to pick it up. I'm the sort of guy who, very honestly, I'll walk by stuff on the floor sometimes. I see it and I just walk right by it. But if I walk into a room, if I walk into a room with people and I see a problem, often I'm the sort of guy who's like, oh yeah, you know what? If I can fix it, if I have the skill sets to, I'll fix it. If it's not in my skill set, if I know someone else in the room has different skill sets, maybe I'll leave it for them. But if it's something I know I can do, sometimes I like to just go out, step out and try it. And you need friends like that, who are willing to serve, who are willing to step into a room and be able to see a problem and be able to fix it, who are able to step into a room and say, you know what? Hey, how can I help someone out here? How can I make this place better? True friendship's about mutual service. You're helping each other. You're talking to each other. You're encouraging each other. You're building each other up. You're redirecting each other. That's what friendship is. So you need someone who's not afraid of serving. You need someone who's not afraid to help other people out. These are people who actively look for other ways to help people. They're generous with time and their resources. They're willing to give up time to spend with you, to talk with you. They'll put other people's needs, they'll put your needs above their own. And same way, if you're trying to be that friend, you'll put other people's needs above your own. You'll step into a room and say, how can I help this person? How can I help out? You need a friend who's loyal through the highs and lows. That's point 6. You can't just have a friend, we talk about fair weather friends, in life, who just say something and they'll be there for a certain season. As soon as things get hard, they're like, gone. Where's Johnny? I don't know, I think you left out the back door as soon as things got hard. No, we don't want to be those sort of friends. We don't want those sort of friends. We need friends who are consistent, friends who are there with us when things get hard, when things are difficult. People who are still going to check in on you. If you ever gone through a problem, maybe life's a little bit tough, things happen, you start seeing your friends less, and you realize, you know what, even though life got tough for you, even though things happened to you, you'll realize, you know what, the people I thought were my friends, they didn't even check in. They didn't text. They didn't call. Nothing. And then when I saw them again, like, hey, we missed you. And it's like, did you really? Because I didn't get the feeling that you really did. You didn't check on me. You didn't ask if I was good. We want friends who do the opposite. We want friends who are there with us. We want friends who are loyal through the highs and the lows. If things don't go well, they're still there checking on you. They're still there encouraging you. They're loyal. They're consistent. Stand with you in good times, bad times. They're there to encourage you. They're there to celebrate when things are going well. They're there to encourage you and point you maybe in another direction when things aren't going well. You need a friend who brings the joy. That's number 7. You need a friend who's able to walk into a room and bring joy. I don't want to have a friend. I don't want to be the friend either who just walks in a room and just like, hey, everybody. It's a miserable day today, isn't it? I don't want to be that guy. I honestly don't think I am that guy. I think I'm the guy who's completely the opposite, but I don't want a friend like that either. Now, obviously, you can reach out to that sort of person and encourage them and help them grow, right? But I wouldn't make that like any of your closest friends. You need people who are full of joy. You need people who are full of life, people who walk into a room and light it up with their energy, with their joy. That's what you need. It's important to have deep conversations, serious talks, for sure, definitely. I love having a deep conversation, a deep talk. But it's important to have fun. It's important to laugh. It's important to make jokes. Friends who are filled with the joy of the Lord, they'll help you see life in a different way, especially, if you're not the most joyfully inclined person all the time. Other friends who have that sort of joy, they'll encourage you. They'll help build you up. These people who bring laughter, encouragement. They have a positive outlook in life and faith. They'll encourage you in joyful experiences when things are going well, and they'll be with you even when things aren't going well. Okay, number 8. You need someone who's quick to forgive, someone who's full of grace. Now, we talked about it already. Friends need to be able to correct us, for sure. They need to be able to correct us. They need to be able to encourage us. They need to be able to tell us, hey, you didn't do this well. Try again, try better at this. But at the same time, you need friends who are able to forgive you. They need to be able to point out what you did wrong. They shouldn't be afraid to tell you, hey, you messed up, you hurt me in this way. But they need to be able to forgive you. They need to be able to move on. It's kind of hard to deal with a bitter friend. You can't tell, are they still holding a grudge? Are they not? No friendship's perfect. Conflicts happen, things happen, someone says the wrong thing. You get offended, you get hurt. But you need to be able to find friends who are able to extend grace the same way Jesus does to all of us. We're called to forgive other people. It's hard sometimes, I know, but we're still called to do it. And you need friends who are able to do that. Now, I'm not saying they have to go trust you with everything again. If they lent you their car for the weekend because you needed a car and you ran into a light post, backed into a light post or something, then obviously they don't have to trust you with the car again. But hopefully if you took care of the problems, if you got it all figured out, then hopefully they'll be able to forgive you at least. Will they let you drive the car again? No. Will you still have to reimburse them for the damage if it wasn't insured properly? Yeah, I think you should. But after that, they should be able to forgive you. If they can't, if they're still holding a grudge, then you don't want to be that friend. I don't want to be that friend. I don't want to be around that friend. I don't think any of us want to be around that friend. So you need to find someone who's quick to forgive. Someone who's going to point out what you did wrong, but at the same time, they'll be willing to let it go. Someone who doesn't hold grudges. That's a big one. Sometimes I see people and I wonder, are they still holding a grudge against me? Something I did? I can't quite tell, They say they're full of grace, but then I can't tell. So I think those attributes are pretty clear. Those are things I would look for in a friend if I was going back to school, if I was going to a different job, if I was going to college. Those are sort of friends I would look for. Now, is it going to be easy to find those friends? Not necessarily. I'm trying to find a group of people that I can trust, that I can get along with, people that check off this list. I know it's hard. If you're in the same boat, I want to encourage you. Hey, you're not alone. We're doing it together. We're finding friends, finding people who are going to encourage us, people who are going to help us grow. If you have enjoyed this episode, make sure that you go ahead and like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you can on the platform you're listening. If you think I missed something, if you think there's another thing that's really important to a friend, leave it in a comment if you're on a platform that allows comments like YouTube, Spotify. I'd love to read them. But besides that, make sure you go ahead and share the episode to a friend if you think they'll benefit from it. Maybe someone who just went to college, someone who started a new school. If they're looking for friends, send it to them. But that being said, I guess I'll go ahead and see you. Actually, wait. You want to see more episodes like this? Just casual? It's kind of fun without the microphone and all the multi-camera angles. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you like it, if you don't like it. But I'll see you in the next episode. Love you. Bye.